everyone, it's Bryan Waters here from the QTube. I'm sitting here at 344 Audio's facility in Manchester with Alex Gregson.
Hi everybody.
So we just wanted to have a chat and find out more about 344 Audio. So hope you enjoy. So hi Alex.
Hi, how's it going?
Yeah, good. So do you want to take us through initially just a little bit of the history of the business and perhaps your own history, how you got to this point?
Yes, so my original background was in electronic music production. So from being a young teenager, like many people, I started out there. I'd use softwares like Reason, Ableton, and I'd find that I'd spend most of my time creating sounds in synthesizers and sampling different instruments. And what I later realized as an adult and developing as a sound designer specifically is that I think I always was a sound designer more than a musician. After I studied at university, I then started the business 344 Audio, and we primarily we're working on sound for film and TV. But more recently, in the last couple of years, we've started developing products such as sound effects libraries and now Kontakt libraries, which is very exciting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the business is split really between productions and products. Basically.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Although there is one other element of the business which is similar to the QTube in a sense. We also have courses, education for people wanting to learn synthesis, audio post-production for film and things like that as well.
And is the education side of the business a relatively new one, or you've been doing that for a number of years?
So we've kind of been testing it for a number of years with a course called Audio Post Essentials, which is where I personally deliver it one-on-one. But soon, which we've not really talked about online anyway yet, we're going to be releasing a more serious, developed course with more people and the class sizes and the ability to do it remotely and things like that.
Okay, cool.
So that's going to be fun.
So that's something you're looking to grow really in the business. Okay, cool. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. All right. So tell us a little bit about the structure and the facilities and anything you like really.
Yeah. So in our new studio building, which is close to completion, which we're very happy about, we've been working on it for about 12 months now. We've got a Foley and ADR studio, which is where we also record our instruments for Kontakt and things like that. We've got the Stevenson suite, which we're in now, which is our 5.1 mixing facility, which we're using for films and TV shows and things like that. We've got the Graham Bell suite, which is where a lot of the staff work. They also work on developing products there as well. And our team's growing quite quickly at the moment. So it's quite exciting. We're seeing a lot of new people coming through the doors and also new clients and everything, which is great. Then we've got one more room, which is going to be our green room and education room, which you saw earlier, which is still in development. So yeah,
the construction.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. It must be pleasing to see how it's growing and everything. Yeah, and you've got a nice team. I've met a few today. Very nice team. And you have Jack, who's working with you, from the Northern Film Orchestra, who some of you will know from Score Relief. So I've met him for the first time, face to face actually today. So that's been great. Okay, so let's talk about each of those aspects of the business one by one a little bit. So first of all, about the kind of Foley and production and stuff, if I can group all that together.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Is that grouped together in
Yeah,
your
the
mind?
services part of the
Services.
business. Yeah.
Okay. So what type of clients and?
So it's a wide variety. Most of the productions we work on are independent films. So we work on many feature films, short films, and things like that of all different budget levels, really. And it's great because it gives us the freedom without the kind of studio control and the million executive producers to kind of really work with the filmmaker and do what they want to do and not have the pressures, involved in that. On the flip side, we also do work with some corporate clients. We've worked with a lot of big brands like the Army, Reebok, Nike, all those type of people, and that's also fun as well. But when doing that, we tend to bring in more of what I would consider the more creative commercial projects rather than the everyday voiceover and music. It tends to be the more challenging briefs that we get, which is really fun. Yeah.
So are there any films or TV productions that you can mention that you've been involved with?
Yeah, so we're about to start on one that I'm really fascinated with called Falkland Square. It's a film about the Falklands War, which is, as far as I know, hasn't been on film before. So I'm really excited from both a personal level and a professional level of creating that soundscape and everything.
Right.
That's going to be a really fun production.
And is it a documentary or what is it?
No, it's actually a narrative.
Okay.
So you can actually find some information about that and see the trailer online. So it's called Falkland Square. So yeah, we're going to be starting on that one soon. So I'm really excited about that one.
And how does that work come in? I mean, is it referrals, word of mouth, and repeat business? Is a lot of that?
It's a mix of a lot of things. So we do get a lot of repeat business. So we've got filmmakers, as they progress through the career, they work on more and more projects. And inevitably, if they're directing something, they'll know a producer who will then be producing something else, and then it leads to something. But also, the old-fashioned way, I reach out to people all the time. I'm not afraid to admit it. A lot of people kind of create the smoke and mirrors of how they get business. I just reach out to people. If I see someone I want to work with, I message them and I say, hey, I'd love to work with you. So that's another way. And yeah, again, people just find us through, we do a lot of social media stuff. And we often hear from people that they've been following our journey for like 2 years, and then they'll just pop up when the time is right, basically, which is really satisfying to hear, because it's when you do social media, it can sometimes feel like, say you put a video out, you get 100 views, you think, why am I wasting my time? But what you don't realise is, in today's world, it's about the value of the person watching it, not about the amount of viewers. And if one of those people, say for the composers and sound designers out there, one of those people is a film director who really likes your vibe and the way you come across, they may just reach out to you at one point in the future and give you a serious project.
Just wait until they've got the right project for you, and you don't know that they're waiting, but they've got you in mind, and then you'll get that magic email saying, hey,
there you go.
Are you interested in working together? It must be lovely to get that. Yeah. And how close do you get to working with composers?
It depends on what we're working on at that given time. So we always push to work with composers. So, for example, on Falkland Square, that's something where we'll have a conversation with the composer about what their plans are, what they plan to do, if that will affect the post-production sound in any way, or any elements that we decide to put into that production. There are some projects where a composer's involvement is absolutely paramount in terms of speaking to the sound team, the post-sound team, because on that particular production, it could be that music and sound work together in tandem, and if you don't have a communication with them, one of you ends up falling short, and it's very awkward. You might receive the composer's music, and it just doesn't match with what you thought it would be, and they also might not realise what you're going to do. So we're working on one at the moment where it's kind of heavily inspired by Edgar Wright movies. There's a lot of sound, edit, and music working together at once. So if we just went, oh, well, it'll be fine, we don't need to have a conversation with them, we don't know how that's going to turn out. So it's just good to always establish that communication, not just with the sound designer or composer, but with the director, the producers, and sometimes the editor as well. It's really important.
Do you ever find yourself in a project where you're actually asked to find or recommend a composer?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah. One of the big things that we've really pushed as a company is the idea that post-production sound doesn't start in post-production, it starts in pre-production. And now it's around 80 to 90% of our clients hire us at that early stage. So we do have a say in like who the composer is of the project, which is a really nice position to be in, because there's so many composers out there and you can pick the right one. You can say, well, I know this guy and I worked with him and he was great. Or this girl, she's good at, you know, I don't know, she's good at doing electronic music, where he's better at doing orchestral, you know. So you can pick whoever you want.
So how would you typically find or choose a composer? You've got your little roster of composers.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a lot more informal than I'm making it sound, I guess. It's not a case of like we've got a list of people and we go through the list. It's more people we've worked with before. And we liked and we trusted, and it just seemed to work really nicely. They're the people obviously we would go to first, but it sometimes can be you just came across a composer on a project that you didn't know about, and then you really clicked with them, and then you want to work with them again.
So for a composer looking to sort of establish themselves, do you think finding companies that are doing the type of work that you're doing would be another way that they could potentially find work?
I think the best thing to do would actually be to connect with the people in the company specifically. Like I don't think it would work if you just cold reached out to somebody. We've had that a few times before and it's just not the right approach. I think if you make a genuine connection with someone who's a shot caller in that business, it'll obviously be massively beneficial for you.
How would you do that?
I mean, for me, I just like people reaching out to me by Facebook. I don't like the whole formality of email. Like, if someone just adds me as a friend and says, you know, hey, I've checked out some of your stuff, I'm more than happy to have a chat with them, you know.
Cool. All right, great, thank you. I think that's probably quite interesting for the composers. Okay, and what about the product side of the business? Can you tell us a little bit more about that? So
Yeah, sure. So we started out a little over 2 years ago releasing sound effects libraries. Now, it was something that I'd been thinking about for quite a while, and I had a couple of contacts who are doing very well in that world and that side of things. So I got a lot of advice from them, and I started looking at releasing a couple of things initially. I think one of the first products we released was low frequency elements, which was just kind of loads of field recordings that had been manipulated to sound like really like heavy low end that could be used as layers in sound design and music, and that went okay. But then from there we started developing more unique products that people hadn't done before, and some that had been done before but doing it in a different way. And now we're actually one of the world's most prolific releasers of sound effects. So we're releasing some of the most products out of any company in the world because we've developed the team in such a way where they're constantly making stuff. So they're constantly recording, sourcing recordings, we're collaborating with other people as well. That's something that we're really into. We've done collaborations with people all the way from Argentina, Russia, all over the world. Wow. So that's like kind of how we're getting so much content and developing it. And then more recently, around January 2021, we started to think about, right, that's great, we've established the sound effects world now, we can keep growing that. What else could we try? And then we thought, Kontakt instruments. All of us, even though we're sound designers at heart, all of us have a background in music and we're very passionate about music. So we thought, this is great. Gives us an opportunity to come full circle. Started off as an electronic music producer. Now I get to make demo tracks for products. I get to develop these cool little designed patches, and you know. So that was one of the big motivations for me, and it's been great. I mean, things like Victorian pump organ. We got to work with someone who recorded a genuine pump organ, which is a very bizarre instrument, and then we get to develop designed patches from it, and it's just amazing to be able to do that, you know, to have the possibility of doing it.
I can see that you're excited about the Kontakt instruments. Yeah. So we'll be seeing a lot more, yeah?
Yeah, there'll be a lot of Kontakt instruments coming in.
A lot of stuff in the works.
Yeah.
Okay.
So huge thanks to Alex at 344 and everybody at 344 for their hospitality on my visit. That's just part of the interview. I'll be sharing another part of the interview with you later. For those of you that are interested in the Kontakt libraries, you're probably aware that we've done a couple of demo tracks with composer Archie Jennings of a couple of those libraries, including the Victoria pump organ that Alex mentioned. So you can find those demo tracks on our YouTube channel, and the clip that we created with that, Night City, is also available for you to rescore with your own music if you'd like to, from our curated library, which is free to use on theqtube.com. So thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. Just a little insight into the way that a company like 344 Audio works, about their projects and so on. And hopefully it's given you a little bit more insight into some of the companies that are out there, the way that they work, and perhaps some opportunities that might be available for you in developing your connections and career. So until next time, thanks again, and take care and have a great day. Bye for now.